In this MicroCiv tutorial, we're going to go over resources. So before I get started, keep in mind that everything here is representing real world things. It's not just this little setup. You could actually play this game just as like a board game or something if you wanted to. But that's not what this is. So you have to pretend that these are real places. So this house, pretend this is a real house. And these are like different rooms in the house. And then there might be some stuff going on in the yard too that we're not going to get into. So this house is going to, in this example, is going to represent a region. Okay. And then these rooms, different rooms here, are going to represent cities. Now, there also might be other cities out here, but they're not marked on this. Okay, so right now we're just sticking with inside of the house just to explain these concepts. So all these cities and any cities, undefined cities out here, all belong to this region, this unnamed region that we'll just call greenhouse. It doesn't necessarily have to be a house. It could be an apartment. It could be a park. You know, it could be various different things. In fact, you could have one house that has two different regions if you want. But in this example, just to keep it simple, we're just dealing with one region with 3 cities. Now furthermore, we're going to go even further down and we're going to zoom in on one city. These ones we're not even going to define. This is the Woodhouse City. Of course, whoever owns it is going to name it what they want, but I'm just calling it the Woodhouse City because it's represented by a wooden house. Okay, now every region has a letter. Every city has a letter. These are randomly assigned usually by the game master. Again, if you're the game master and you want to develop a different system, that's fine. This is the default system for MicroCiv, and it works very well for trade and for different values, fluctuating values of resources and products. But if you want to get more specific on some kind of industry or something, yeah, that's great. Make something custom for yourself. And I think that would be incredibly awesome. But we're just going to stick with the default rules of the game, which is what I use in my MicroCiv world called Eternal City. This is the system I use. So again, to recap, we got a region with assigned a letter, a city, and all these cities will have assigned letters too, but we don't need that in this example, so I didn't define them. But this city right here, the Wooden House City, its letter is Z. And then within, we're going to zoom in on this city, and within here, again, remember this is a real room that you can actually walk in, are 3 properties. Over here we have this purple, I think is going to be represented by we'll say what should we say here? Let's go to this green. I'll probably come up with something faster. We'll say this is a desk. Okay, just pretend this green box is a desk, and then over here we got a cabinet, and then this purple one is something else that I'll think of. Maybe how about a coffee stand? Okay, so this is a coffee stand. These are all defined by the game master as properties within this city, which is within this region. So not only does the region have a letter, the city has a letter, but every defined property has a letter. So this one is V, the table stand. Is that what it was? Coffee stand? Something like that. I might forget this during the tutorial, but you understand what I mean. This is something that you can physically go to as a human being. And then right here we got the desk, which is A, and then the cabinet, which is O. Now, every letter, which is randomly assigned by the game master, if you're playing by default rules, which is what I'm explaining, has an opposite letter. And once you play this enough, you get used to it and you know what all the opposite letters are. But it is really helpful to use the MicroCiv World Manager, because when you type in your letter for your regions and your cities, your municipalities, whatever you call them, and your properties, it's going to automatically assign the correct opposite letter. And that is free to use, but if you have a lot of users, I think it's like 10 or more, maybe over 10, I can't remember, then you have to have the monthly subscription. But most people, you know, they may not need that. or they can just keep track of it on their own. But it does help. I use it, and it really helps me a lot. It's good for organization too, because you can keep track of all the different regions and cities and properties on there very easily. So when you're assigning these as a game master, you can just use like a random letter generator, assuming you're using the default rules, and just not you can assign it manually yourself too if you have some kind of plan that you want to do. Me, I just do everything randomly because I like a completely random world that people have to adapt to. Okay, so we have our letters, our opposite letters. We have our municipality, or city, as I call them in my world. We got the region, and we got these properties. Okay, got this Z out here that I don't need. All right, yeah. So again, we're just discussing how to make resources in this game. So now I come along, and that is what I forgot. I forgot a, I guess I'm going to have to just go with this. I come along, and I'm this guy, I think. Who can I be? Kind of want to get a different color here. Guess I can just be this guy. I don't really know if that made a better difference. So this is me. Actually, the other one probably had better lighting on this. What the heck? Okay. Yeah, it's not the best piece to choose, but we're going to have to deal with it. Okay, so I am at this region. We're playing a game at this region today. There might be other regions as well, but this is where I am. And let's just say I own this one that I couldn't think of what it was. It's a coffee stand. So I'm over here at my property, and someone else owns this property, someone else owns this. I don't think it really matters for this tutorial on who controls the city. Regions are not controlled. They're just there for symbolic purposes and to symbolize boundaries and whatnot. So here I am at this thing, and I can manufacture V, or produce, mine, whatever you want to call it. Again, if you want to customize things and have mining and all that, go ahead. In my world, I just have one industrial process for everything. Or I take that back. I have several industrial processes for everything. So all the defined industrial processes in my game can create any kind of letter. Now, if you want to be more hardcore, especially if you're dealing with really advanced players, yeah, then you're going to want to do that. But most of the people that are in my world are kids, so I don't want to get it that complicated. So I'm here. I'm able to produce V's if I do one of the industrial processes. Now, industrial processes in the game, I'm not going to talk about much here, but these are something you have to customize. They're going to be some kind of task or activity that participants do to create resources and create products. But in this video, we're just sticking with resources. So, for instance, in my world, Minesweeper is one of the activities that you can do to create something. So I have 3 different levels. Like there's beginner, intermediate, and advanced, and they provide different amounts of resources or products. So, for example, if I play Minesweeper in my world and I successfully beat it, and on the easy level, I would get 1 V resources if I'm at this property. And I own it, so I don't have any issue. I can do that whenever I want. Now, again, we're saying that other people own these. So they can hire me, for instance, to go over here. And again, there's like money in the world, or they could pay me in something else, whatever. Or maybe they need a service or something that they need from me, or that I need from them. So I'm willing to do this. Whatever the participants want to work out, they can do. So maybe this guy here at the desk wants me to make some A resources for him. So he's like, hey, I'm going to pay you some X amount of X currency. And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. And then I play Minesweeper and I make 1 A resource for him. I could do that. And then another way to do it is I could rent this place from him and make it my own. So I pay him X amount of X currency, and he'd be like, okay, you're renting my desk now, so then I can perform the industrial task and get the letter. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, since cities and regions also have letters, I'm not just, when I'm here, whoops, I took the wrong piece. When I'm back over here at my property, I'm not just limited to make V resources. Okay. Now, I can't make E resources with this. This is for products, but I'm not going to explain that now. That will be in a separate video. So here at this, when I'm at this property and physically, like I got my laptop or whatever, and I'm playing Minesweeper, I make this V resource. Or I can make Z resources, or I can make M resources. The reason why that is because these properties are within this city, and this city is within this region. So I have 3 choices of what to make. Likewise, if I go over here, I can make A, Z, or M. If I'm here, I can make O, Z, or M. And again, just to reiterate, the participants can only do this at their own properties unless they've worked out some kind of arrangement with the owner of the property to do that, to make that. So if I'm out here in no man's land, I'm not at a property, I cannot make Z and M. I still need to be at a property in order to make any type of resource at all.